How do I turn it on? How do I turn it on?
It's on.
Now?
Yeah, it's rolling.
Hey, buddy, my old pal, my old hard-headed girl. How you doing, pal? Ready? Good.
The racing world stands at attention as Dale Earnhardt Jr. delivers unprecedented revelations about his father's true cultural impact in Amazon Prime Video's explosive new docuseries, Earnhardt. The 4-part documentary series, premiering Thursday, May 22nd, 2025, presents Dale Earnhardt Sr.'s story through perspectives never before shared publicly by his family members. This comprehensive examination of the Intimidator's life extends far beyond traditional racing documentaries. The production team, led by executive producers Brian Grazer and Ron Howard, collaborated extensively with Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Kelley Earnhardt Miller to create what director Joshua Altman describes as a fundamentally different approach to understanding American motorsport's most iconic figure. The docuseries releases in 2 phases, with episodes 1 and 2 available May 22nd, followed by the final 2 episodes on May 29th. This strategic release coincides with Prime Video's inaugural NASCAR Cup Series broadcasts, beginning with the Coca-Cola 600 race scheduled for Sunday, May 26th. Dale Earnhardt Jr. delivers his most startling revelation when comparing his father to Elvis Presley, fundamentally reframing how audiences should view Dale Earnhardt Sr.'s cultural significance. He was like Elvis, with the fandom. He was beyond this world to a lot of people, Earnhardt Jr. states in the documentary. This comparison transcends typical sports analogies. Earnhardt Jr. positions his father alongside American cultural transformers rather than merely successful athletes. He was a John Wayne figure who just kind of transcended the man and the person that we knew. Fans of his thought he was indestructible and bulletproof and couldn't do anything wrong. He was this larger-than-life, otherworldly thing. And so they worshipped him. It was insane. The intensity of fan devotion reached extraordinary levels. Dale Earnhardt Sr.'s popularity generated massive t-shirt and souvenir sales, inspired fans to tattoo his image on their bodies, and led to at least one individual requesting that Earnhardt drive with their ashes in the car. These manifestations of devotion, typically associated with entertainment figures rather than athletes, demonstrate the unprecedented cultural penetration Earnhardt achieved. Director Joshua Altman reinforces this perspective, explaining the production team's mission. He said, "We see Dale, as a lot of NASCAR fans do, as someone who changed their entire sport and should be seen, alongside people like Babe Ruth and Michael Jordan. We even talk about Elvis, that these are American icons, people that are known, not just in name, but beyond that. That was our mission, to make sure that other people outside the NASCAR world understood Dale was that as well." Dale Earnhardt Jr. acknowledges a fundamental misunderstanding about his father's true cultural reach during Dale Sr.'s lifetime. "But I didn't honestly know how big an impact he had until he passed away," he reveals. "In our little industry, he was massive. But when he passed away, people were talking about him that I never even thought about them knowing who he was." This admission carries significant weight. Dale Earnhardt Jr. lived within NASCAR's ecosystem throughout his father's career, yet still underestimated the broader cultural penetration his father achieved. The revelation suggests Dale Earnhardt Sr.'s influence extended into mainstream American consciousness far beyond motorsports demographics. The documentary team arrived at similar conclusions through their research process. Altman explains their discovery. "For us, after researching this, we were like, wait a second, Dale Earnhardt should be seen next to Babe Ruth, next to Michael Jordan, even next to Elvis. He's an American icon. He's someone who completely transformed the sport." This positioning challenges conventional sports hierarchy narratives. Dale Earnhardt Sr. achieved cultural icon status, typically reserved for athletes from major American sports leagues, despite NASCAR's historically regional appeal during his era. Dale Earnhardt Jr. provides candid assessments of his relationship with his father, directly contradicting public perceptions of their family dynamics. Dale Jr. said, "We knew him as a real person who was a good dad and a tough dad, and not so good dad sometimes, with all these human imperfections," he states. "But there was this large group of people who thought he was godlike and just perfect. I think that contrast will come through in the show." The documentary explores how Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Kelley Earnhardt Miller experienced childhoods that were less than perfect, and how their relationship with their father wasn't always peaches and cream. These revelations provide substantial contrast to public narratives surrounding the Earnhardt family during Dale Sr.'s racing career. Kelley Earnhardt Miller assumed parental responsibilities for Dale Jr. from childhood, demonstrating family dynamics that differed significantly from traditional structures. When Dale Jr. was sent to military school, Kelley chose to attend the same institution to provide familial support. Following Dale Sr.'s death in 2001, Kelley took a pay cut to work for Dale Jr., providing career support during his transition to primary family leadership. The documentary draws parallels between Kelley's supportive role and Teresa Earnhardt's significant involvement in Dale Sr.'s business ventures. However, Teresa Earnhardt represents a notable absence from the documentary. Despite multiple outreach attempts by filmmakers, Teresa provided no response to interview requests. The production instead incorporates archival interview footage to represent her perspective from that time period. Director Joshua Altman describes the Earnhardt family's cooperation as extraordinary in scope and honesty. He said, "Working with them was amazing. I can't thank them enough for the trust that they put into us first, into making this, but they also just opened up themselves completely and were open to be honest about everything. The good, the bad, the ugly." Dale Earnhardt Jr. participated in interviews lasting up to 4 hours, demonstrating commitment to comprehensive storytelling. Altman says, "Dale would sit with me for like 4 hours in interviews sometimes. He was very ready to talk and help us get our story straight and understand everything, and also just go deeper with us with a lot of things that we as filmmakers had questions about." The production team's approach deliberately prioritized family narrative over traditional sports documentary structure. Altman explains their conceptual framework. "I don't think you could do one without the other. I know. That was always our intention to sort of, let's tell a family story. Much in the way that The Godfather isn't about a mobster. It's really about a family who just happens to be in the mob." This approach allows examination of Dale Earnhardt Sr.'s evolution from success-driven individual to family-oriented person. We very much saw Dale's sort of trajectory. His arc is this person who is hell-bent on achieving success in a way that takes him away from his family, whereas Dale Jr. is he's searching for success in order to bring himself closer to his father. The production gained access to NASCAR's vast historical archive, totaling 15 petabytes of footage. This unprecedented access allowed filmmakers to discover previously unseen material, including rare footage from Dale Earnhardt Sr., first career win at Bristol Motor Speedway. According to the documentary team, this Bristol footage represents hidden material that even prominent NASCAR historians may never have seen. The production team adopted a time capsule approach to storytelling, prioritizing archival footage over traditional interview segments. "We wanted to transport people back in time," Altman explains. "We were like, how do we dissect that? How do we get as much of it as possible that we need for this and really allow the audience to live in that world and to experience this, to be in a time capsule, to go back to the 70s, 80s, and 90s, and really live in there?" Certain significant racing moments were excluded due to time constraints. The 1979 Daytona 500, where Dale Earnhardt Sr. led 10 laps and finished 8th in the first live flag-to-flag 500-mile broadcast, represents a notable omission. I think when you craft something like this, you sort of have all these things in your head initially when you set out to make it, Altman explains. "We had to kill some darlings, as they say. So that sort of became something where we were like, okay, this isn't quite the centerpiece that we thought it was, despite it being very significant to his career and to the sport." Episode 2 receives particular recognition from reviewers for its examination of Dale Earnhardt Sr.'s friendship with Neil Bonnet. This relationship provided Dale Sr. with rare personal connection within NASCAR's competitive environment, where his aggressive racing style typically generated few friendships among fellow drivers. The episode explores how Bonnet and Dale Sr. shared hunting and fishing activities, creating personal bonds beyond professional racing relationships. When Bonnet died in a practice crash before the 1994 Daytona 500, Dale Sr.'s emotional response revealed vulnerability rarely displayed publicly. Dale Earnhardt Sr. transformed NASCAR's business model despite possessing only a 9th grade education. Director Altman emphasizes this achievement. He wasn't just an incredible athlete, the best in the game. he was also someone who completely transformed the sport. He changed everything, down from the way that you market yourself and make money off yourself with a 9th grade education. It's pretty profound.